in a familiar spot here at the Rock against a familiar opponent, the Holly Springs Salamanders, for the second time in 3 days for the season series finale here at the Rock as Morehead City dons the Fish Tacos uniforms for the final time this season on Taco Tuesday. Trey Keenis alongside Lance Williams and Christian Doms getting you set for the Fish Tacos and the Salamanders. Before we get to that, let's go back to Sunday's game in which Morehead City, a come-from-behind victory in dramatic fashion. Christian, the Crystal Coast Booty Divers, as it was on Sunday, came back and won, storming all the way back, winning 5-2. How did they get it done?
Well, you really got to give credit to Nate Anderson and Jaden Gustafson on the offensive and defensive side of things, especially in that 9th inning. Jaden Gustafson, he went 2 of 5 from the plate, had 2 doubles, and one of those tied the game in the top of the 9th, sent Nate Anderson home. And then in the bottom frame of the inning, Anderson with a game-saving double play threw a runner out, or rather threw the go-ahead runner out for Holly Springs at the plate. One of the best plays we've seen in the outfield all season from Anderson. And then in that 10th inning, the offense really just exploded. 4 runs in the top frame of the 10th, holding the Holly Springs Salamanders to just 2 runs. That's been a common theme throughout this throughout this series, has been the pitching of Morehead City really doing a good job of keeping the Holly Springs bats at bay.
The pitching was able to hold off the Salamanders offense enough to the point where the offense could take it from there. As Morehead City looks to finish things off with the season series finale tonight, in between Sunday's contest and tonight's ball game was the MLB draft, in which 2 Morehead City players were drafted, that being Brody Popple and Danny Thompson. It's bittersweet, Lance, because obviously these guys are able to take it to the next level and pursue their dream, but their careers here with Morehead City coming to an end.
Well, it stinks to see these really talented guys get drafted, but after all, this is why they're here. They're here to promote their game, improve their game, and just hone in to get to the next level. And so far, that's what just happened yesterday. We saw Danny Thompson Jr., the closer for this team. He'll be very well missed from this bullpen. 12 2/3 scoreless innings. That was the streak that comes to a close with him departing for Toronto, or at least to get signed by the Blue Jays. And then for Brody Popple, a catcher from Florida A&M, he's a really good offensive and defensive catcher. Also his speed, something you really don't see from a catcher. And I'm excited for Brody. I mean, he's a Tallahassee guy. He's a big Florida State fan. Buster Posey, the legendary San Francisco Giants catcher. And now Popple perhaps following in his footsteps. So I'm happy for Brody, happy for Danny. Obviously we'll miss them down here, but I know that they're thrilled to be going to the next level, and I'm excited for them.
2 young stars looking to take their dreams into fruition as Morehead City looks to reload and finish out the season on a positive note. Going back to Sunday's contest, as Christian mentioned, Nate Anderson coming in on the clutch in the offensive and defensive side of things. I was fortunate enough to talk to him earlier today. Trey Keenis here with Fish Tacos outfielder Nate Anderson, who's rocking the Cinco de Mayo headband today in honor of the final edition of the Fish Tacos uniforms for this season here on this Taco Tuesday. So Nate, a day off yesterday, but a come-from-behind win on Sunday. You were able to score the game-tying run there in the top of the 9th, but a bigger play occurred in the bottom of the 9th where you gunned out the game-winning run from the Salamanders, ultimately sending the game to extras, which you guys came out on top. What was going through your mind when making that play?
We had a mound visit, and we talked to the outfielders before, and we said, get as shallow as you're comfortable throwing a dude from, and that was like my absolute maximum range. And it's a do or die. I call it a do or die. You got nothing to lose. If you don't make the throw, you lose. So threw up a prayer and kind of like a Hail Mary, and it worked, and fortunate enough to come back and win in the 10th.
Yeah, certainly paid off, and you guys ultimately coming back, as noted, winning that game 5-2. So moving on to the offensive side of things, you're currently riding a 5-game hitting streak coming into tonight's contest against the Salamanders. This is the 3rd time this season you fostered a hitting streak of at least 5 games. What's been key to your success at the plate this season?
Just confidence. I've been in college a long time now. I'm done with college. And just trusting my ability. I come out here for a reason every day. I feel like there's not a pitch a guy can throw by me, and that confidence takes me a long way.
So moving on to bigger picture offensively, in that game against Holly Springs, that double you had in the 9th was your 34th hit this season, and that's your 34th hit in just 23 games here in the summer of 2025. That ties your total from the summer of 2023 of 34 hits, which took you 30 games to reach that mark. What's been the difference, or rather, how have you seen your game progress from that summer of 2023 to the summer of 2025 now?
I would say I know who I am as a player more. I know what I'm good at, and the game's a lot slower for me. I'm good at having a feel for maybe what pitch is coming next, moving around the outfield. stealing bases, picking a pitch to run. Just through playing a lot, you get a better feel for what you need to do and have an idea of what's coming, and it makes it a lot easier to just go be yourself and go play free.
Moving on to tonight's game, you guys face a familiar opponent, the Salamanders, who you guys played on Sunday, as noted. This is the final edition of the series this season. You guys are looking for your 4th consecutive win against the Salamanders for the season sweep. What's key for your guys' success tonight and continuing to build off that momentum from Sunday's win?
It's hard to sweep a team in 4 games, I'll say that, but if we can pitch well, throw strikes, limit the freebies on defense, and have quick innings on defense and hang out in the dugout for a while. Like I said the other day, hitting's contagious, so if we can just keep moving the stick, taking team at bats, I think things will find a way of working themselves out.
All right, appreciate the time, Nick. Good luck tonight. Anderson scoring the game-winning run for Crystal Coast on Sunday, but he couldn't have done it if it wasn't for the assistance of Jaden Gustafson, who was 2 for 4 in Sunday's win. And Gustafson might have ownership in the Salamanders by the end of this season. He's 6 for 10 in 3 games against Holly Springs. Christian was fortunate enough to chat with him earlier today.
Christian Ahms here with Fish Tacos outfielder Jaden Gustafson. Jaden, you went 2 of 5 from the plate with 2 doubles in Sunday's win over Holly Springs. What was really working for you from the plate?
Just being competitive, and that's usually my MO in the box. I just try being as competitive as possible, even when I'm not feeling the greatest, which was the case the other day in Holly Springs. Things weren't really feeling in sequence and everything, but I was just being competitive, trying to have the best at-bats I could.
One of the interesting things about Ting Stadium as well is it's one of the few stadiums in the CPL that has the pitch clock. So from your standpoint and really from the team on the offensive side of things, do you think that kind of affected you guys or made you have to adjust it all from the box?
I personally like the pitch clock. I think it speeds up the pace of play. There's some teams that take way too long to get in the box, so I think I think the pitch clock is great. And honestly, I just think the pitcher for Holly Springs did a good job the other night. The pitch clock didn't really have an effect on that.
Yeah, going 2 over 5 from the plate, it seems like you adjusted to it pretty well. And then in that 9th inning as well, you had the double in the top frame to tie up the ball game, sending Nate Anderson home. And then both of you guys were converging on that fly ball in the bottom of the 9th. Anderson makes that play. What was going through your guys' head on that play?
Well, before the play during the timeout, we were literally talking about how we can try deking the runner to get him to tag a little later so we could actually have a chance in case of a fly ball. And that's what Nate did. I think the runner was a little conscious of it, and so he got off the bag later. And I was running after the ball, Nate called me off, and I let him have it, and I trusted him, and he made a great throw.
Really did make a great throw indeed. Now, going for the sweep tonight against the Salamanders, what's going to be the biggest thing for you guys going into the matchup?
Just playing good defense, throwing a lot of strikes, and competing at the plate.
All right, well, Jaden, best of luck to you tonight, and thanks for joining us.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Gustafson looking to take his success from the previous 3 meetings against the Salamanders in tonight's season finale. And Christian, now moving to tonight's game, Morehead City having won the first 3 meetings between these 2 squads, looking for the season sweep of the Salamanders. How do you look to execute and finish the job tonight?
Well, the key for Morehead City is really going to be the pitching. It's been the name of the game for this Fish Tacos bunch in the last 2 games that they've played against Holly Springs. Just 2 runs have been scored by the Salamanders across the last 19 innings between these 2 teams. You think back to the game on June 21st where Jackson Bergman and Matthew Driver, they both had excellent starts for Morehead City and Holly Springs respectively. And then in the game on Sunday, Ryan Devaney did a good job of setting the tone. And then you had guys like Jose Bautista and Rylan Howe really follow in that tone setting to help get the job done against the Salamanders. And now with Nick Searce making another start for Morehead City tonight, I think, again, the bullpen really needs to come up key for this Fish Taco squad. They've done a pretty good job of that so far in the previous 3 matchups between Holly Springs.
Pitching has been an anchor in the success department for Morehead City in their last 2 meetings against the Salamanders. And as Christian mentioned, Nick Searce getting the nod tonight for Morehead City. Lance, he struggled in his last 2 outings. How does he look to get things back on track tonight?
Well, just rely on his stuff. He's got kind of tight pitch mix, just the 4-seam fastball, the slider, and the occasional splitter. But, when he has the control, he's really deadly. Not going to blow you away with the velo, but the control, the precision, the surgical manner of his pitch mix, that's how he can have success. And a couple times that we've seen him start, he's played the opener role, whether that be for like a guy like Carson Gibson or someone else. With Gibson having some time off coming into this game, I wouldn't be surprised if it's the righty out of Mount Olive, but still, whether it's Searce going maybe 3 or 4 innings like he's done a couple times, or just going 1 or 2 to play the opener role. Either way, this is a veteran pitcher from American International College. Coach Sam Carroll and the pitching coach Josh Plisco, they have trust in this guy.
The Fish Tacos looking for the season sweep tonight against the Salamanders. First pitch scheduled for 6:30. These two will be on the call. We'll talk to you then.